All right, everybody, what is going on? My name is Dan Russo. Welcome once again to Under the Covers with Dan Russo. My guest today, Michael Maloney. Michael, what's going on? How are you doing today?
Hi! Good afternoon, Dan and everybody.
How are you guys all doing,
me.
friends? Do not forget also, if you or a loved one or somebody who you don't like is curious, the show is now officially available both on Facebook and on YouTube. We do not have the official Under the Covers YouTube page yet, but you can search Under the Covers Dan Russo with two N's, of course, just like right there. And I know it's like, where am I pointing? Am I pointing in the right spot? It's always a one of those fun technology things. I'm like, I think Michael's right there. You can almost see him right next to me.
Get out of my closet! What are you doing in there?
That's a lovely seal you have behind you, Michael.
Before the show, I told Dan about the calendar. My mom usually gives me an animal calendar every December. The seal was for January, but I just love that seal so much because he just looks like a round little ball thing.
That's amazing. I love that.
So it's January still.
It is. It feels.
Today
like,
it feels like January.
Well, it does. It's so cold. I took the dog out this morning and I was like, I need a sweater and pants. What's going on? Why do I need pants?
Yeah, I didn't need my pants yesterday.
No.
I didn't wear anything yesterday.
Michael's walking around his backyard and his house.
Free as a bird.
Free as a bird. Oh my goodness, I love. See, this is why people watch this show right here. This is that realness. We get to the real, naked part of Michael as a human being.
Under the covers, under the pantaloons.
Welcome, everybody. How are you doing this Sunday? Can we just restart? Let's restart. Anyway, no. I'm Dan. That's Michael. Michael is singer-songwriter, a tremendous musician, a very cool dude. He recently put out a record. This was January. It was January 1st, was it not?
Yeah.
January 1st, and if you are even remotely interested in bands like The Beautiful South or The Saw Doctors or what was a little bit of Robbie Williams in there too, I heard. And so
yes, I love Robbie Williams.
Oh, really? That's I'm very glad.
I haven't gone that one yet so far.
I'm very glad.
Really cool.
I feel like whenever I say things like that, I'm always kind of like, I hope you like this. Like,
nice.
It's like, that sounds just like, and you're like, I know, I hate them. They're my
no, that's awesome.
Ever.
I have an older sister, so in the '90s, whatever she listened to was kind of, you're like, oh yeah, I gotta listen to this because she's cool, and what she knows is cool, and she got me really into a lot of the Brit pop stuff in the '90s, and especially Robbie Williams was trying to kind of make it in the States. And in the States, they released an album called The Ego Has Landed, which was like a compilation of his first two albums, with Angels and, kind of all those big songs. And I religiously listened to that cassette tape, wore it out. Every New Year's Eve I'd have to sync it up on the cassette tape player the right way and play Millennium for when it was 2000. So, yeah, I love his style. That is so cool that you caught
that. No, one of my favorites is Let Me Entertain You, and there was a little bit, I feel, of that in one of your songs, and I was like, oh, yeah. And I was telling Michael, is there a weird buzz? Because sometimes I get a weird hum from this. You hearing a hum or something?
A slight. Yeah, there's a slight thing there.
All right. Is it still happening? Or
but,
is it fixed?
It's pretty good. I can still hear your beautiful voice very well. That little bit of Let Me Entertain You, I think I was like, that's one of my favorite tunes. Of course.
And I was telling Michael before we got on the show today that one of the really nice things, and I've been listening to your new record, which is great.
Thanks.
And where I had it open here for a second and it disappeared. There it is. There it is. January Hopeful, and it's perfect. Like it's the perfect vibe for doing a lot of reading. I'm taking some grad school classes, and it's like, oh yeah, it's good music. It's well done. It's well organized, and you are a tremendous musician. I must say, the piano, the guitar, the drums. You know
Thank
what
you.
you're
Thanks.
doing, and I'm very impressed. How did that happen? You, I mean, you talking about your sister as a musical influence on you. Did you grow up in a musical household? How did it happen that you became this multi instrumentalist at the level that you're at?
First off, thank you. That's very humbling. Um, yeah, didn't really come from a musical family per se. I'm literally, even in my extended family, I think I've got one cousin who plays the guitar, and that's about it. But my parents always were fans of music. My mom, being leftover hippie from the 60s, would have got me big into the Beatles and 60s, Hermits and the Beach Boys. And then just my dad is just, he's from Ireland. So I also grew up listening to a lot of kind of different things that normal American young kids wouldn't listen to, a lot of Irish folk ballads and things. But it really started from like a hip condition that I developed. It's called leg calf perthes, and I was about 4 or 5. Really impacted how I walked. Walking, standing, sitting for too long was all very painful. Went to Children's Hospital, and it's kind of a thing that misshapes the hip. And so from that, I think my parents said I always was air conducting when I was a baby, things like that. And so when this happened when I was a kid, I think it became a really nice outlet, since I couldn't play with the neighborhood kids run around. And so I'd asked for music lessons, and they thought, well, he can't physically hurt himself sitting at a piano. Because it was that bad. I was in a wheelchair for a little bit. I had a cast between my legs. And so piano, and then I started kids choir at church, Medford, and it was kind of like applying the music theory from piano lessons to this like choral singing. And then kind of as time went on, it just became such a wonderful, expressive and emotional, and eventually a social outlet for me. So music has always been very important. But really, I think I consider myself a pianist first. And then everything else is just from the wonders of bouncing and editing. But this was a long time in the making, this album. I had recorded a lot of stuff maybe about 10 years ago or so, from like a very simple 8-track analog situation, and released a few things. And then I was experimenting more with digital recording, and my friend Billy Leach, who studied audio production, kind of coached me through. And as an experiment, I wrote a children's album called Music for Young Ears, and that was just to learn like how do I edit and click and hit these buttons. And then just life got really busy, and I actually I'm a physical therapist now, and I think because of my experience as a kid, the beauty of the PT, and so the busyness of grad school, and then starting, working and starting a career, it just was really finding those little moments in life and being like, all right, tonight I gotta sit down and put down the bass line. If I get half an hour, and that it took like probably from start to finish about 4 to 5 years of trying to revisit some older songs of mine, and then also doing kind of new songs as well. And it just started to tell a story of what I did over about 10 years. So the first track, just like that, I wrote in about high school. And then the last song was towards the end of grad school. And I decided to put the songs in chronological order in which I wrote them. And that kind of tells an interesting story too. Like, I know what the story is for every timeline, but it's been interesting to see people's interpretations of why I put things a certain way it was. But so it was a long time in the making, but it was a wonderful, great experience to just finally get it out.
That's awesome. And for those of you guys who are watching, I just put in the chat in both Facebook and YouTube, now that we are on both, the Spotify link to Michael's new record. And you guys can listen to January Hopeful. You can get the story. And I'm curious now that you said that. Are there songs that are yet to be written, like in between track 8 and 9? Is there like a 8.5 in there someplace, and you're like, oh, not yet? And is there you know, one that, oh, I totally forgot about that one, I'm gonna go jump back into that one?
That's interesting. I guess maybe there might be a few things. I mean, I had all these like early demo CDs. Oh, look at me, I'm so big now. You just changed this. There were some other songs that were there, but they just never really, I don't know, they didn't stay with me as much, or they didn't have as much of an impact. So when I started just recording, I just said, I'm just going to start recording all these different things and then see, you know, should I maybe put a few aside? And then it just kind of realized, like, you know, actually, there's some albums that I really love with 15 tracks. Like Ingrid Michaelson had an album, maybe 3 or 4 back, and it just was like, yeah, it just seems right. So for the sake of this, maybe no. These were the ones. These were the ones that.
It's like, you'll get what you get. You won't be upset. This is the record. Deal with it.
I mean, we all have songs that we're like, ooh, I can't believe I did that. But kind of, you need to go through those ones in order to learn how to write a song too.
I absolutely agree with you 100%. And so I just saw a comment pop up. And so if you guys are watching, please make sure you are commenting as we're sitting here on live StreamYard. Michael and I can only see if you comment. Please comment. And also, Mary says she has several albums worth of songs that she will never play. That's that. I have at least a handful. I don't know about several albums, but I have at least a handful. Speaking of songs, Michael, what are you playing for us today? Is there a theme?
Yeah.
Is there a
I decided I just was gonna maybe do just one of more of the peppy toe tapper numbers, because
Nice.
today is so bleak here in Boston, and yeah, this one's usually kind of one of my friends' favorites, and this one's called Little Darling. This was actually, oddly enough, no correlation at all, but I was watching this movie, I think it was called The Way. It was by Emilio Estevez, and his dad was in it. It was about the El Camino walkway.
Oh, I love that
in
movie
Europe.
so much. I love that movie.
And this song has nothing to do with that movie, but I just remember I was watching this movie like on a Sunday, and I had a ukulele, and I don't really play the ukulele. I play a few chords, and I just was like noodling around, and for whatever reason, this song came up. So I don't know why, but for whatever, there's no connection with this movie at all. But just in my brain, I think of that moment. So this is Little Darlin', and this is a really nice, fun one. And in the middle, there's some oohs that you could sing safely from the confines of your house, in case you don't want anyone to hear you. But this is just a nice one that's always been positive for me. So nice memory. So here's Little Darlin'. Come and draw me a map. Come on, I'll give you a start. Up the curve of my back and right straight in my heart. You are my love, and you are my dove. watch you fly now. I've got to show you what you mean to me. I don't have a lot, you're all I've got, you're all I need. Let's go sit and talk, let's go for a walk. Oh, I don't care, no, I don't care. Oh, little darling, just as long as you were there. Sha-la-la-la-la-la-la-la-la-la-la-la-la. Sha-la-la-la-la-la-la-la-la-la-la. 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 Each and every day I've got to see that face. If I had my own way, I'd always have my arms wrapped around her that way. So you are my love, and you are my dove. Watch you fly now. I've got to show you what you mean to me. I don't have a lot, you're all I've got, you're all I need. Let's go sit and talk, let's go for a walk. Oh, I don't care, oh, I don't care. Oh, little darling, just as long as you were there. Sha-la-la-la-la-la-la-la-la-la-la. Sha-la-la-la-la-la-la-la-la-la. You were there. Sha-la-la-la-la-la-la-la-la-la. Sha-la-la-la-la-la-la-la-la-la. Here we go now. I say, ooh, oh, oh, I say, ooh. I say, ooh, oh, oh, I say, ooh. Here we go. I say, ooh, oh, oh, I say, ooh. I say, ooh, oh, beautiful then. You are my love, and you are my dove. Watch you fly now. I've got to show you what you mean to me. I don't have a lot, you're all I've got, you're all I need. Let's go sit and talk, let's go for a walk. Oh, I don't care, oh, I don't care. Oh, little darling, just as long as you were there. Sha-la-la-la-la-la-la-la-la-la-la. Sha-la-la-la-la-la-la-la-la-la-la. You were there. Sha-la-la-la-la-la-la-la-la-la-la. Long as you were there. Sha-la-la-la-la-la-la-la-la-la.
Woo!
Say,
Oh, yeah.
That was very nice.
I figured that with the whole latency and lag over computers and such, I figured that while you were oohing, if I oohed, that would be safe. That would be.
that was beautiful. Wow, that was gorgeous.
Well, thank you very much. I appreciate
My God, that was great.
Which is really funny because I'm one of those people who is like, oh, the DJ's singing over the end of the song. That's so lame. But no, sorry, that went out the window with this. Michael
That's
Maloney,
what we all need.
so
we all need
good.
to just be like together right
I
now,
agree.
especially.
I
So that
100% agree.
that was great.
And as track 9 on that record.
Oh yeah, I guess yeah.
You don't have to tell us the story, but is there where were you chronologically at that point?
That's about more halfway through. A lot of them. Let's just say this album is a lot about the past and revisiting a time and kind of one particular relationship. Mm-hmm. And 2 or 3 of the songs were even before this. These were kind of more like young Michael. The first 3 songs were kind of high school and just kind of my idea of what love is from what I think it is, from what I've seen in movies, and I don't know anything. I was such an awkward teenager, couldn't talk to girls at all. What do you? No, that's terrible. So And then something kind of happened, and you meet someone, and the first, maybe then like 4 through, tracks like 4 through 10 or 11, especially those first few, are just about like just the pure bliss and joy and innocence and like all the wonderful components of like a young romance
Mm-hmm.
and how wonderful life all of a sudden is. And then as kind of later on we go on the album, then you kind of see, well, yeah, actually once you get to really know someone, there's some complications that come along and some weight. And even if something works out or if it doesn't, as I was getting older and more experienced with life, then you see about like what the colors are that unfold in a relationship that is not just so innocent and when life is easy. And then you see, life gets hard, and life can be hard in a relationship as well. And there's a lot of Venn diagrams that come along too, and that's kind of more towards the end of the album, at least for me, as I see. So, Little Darling is like right in the beautiful peak of just innocent young love. At least that's what it is for me.
That is one of the most beautiful ways I have ever heard somebody describe the arc of a relationship. It's all the complexities. You find out the other colors, and it's just like it's you're not wrong. You're not wrong. It's so wonderful.
Appreciate that. Thanks.
No, that really, and I think you're right, and I think that as as people get older, too, there's almost like being granted permission to do the things that you either didn't know you could do or were told that that's not how it goes. Am I kind of on the right track? I think.
I love this. Keep
least,
going.
Yeah, and there's a certain amount of like you said, like, you see the movies, like it's almost like you see someone's Instagram or Facebook, and they're not gonna post the bad stuff. It's just,
of course.
Yeah.
And in the movies, you get an hour and a half, and then you're done.
Right.
But life is more than an hour and a half.
Yeah. Or even in a TV show, if the couple's fighting and there's a laugh track, it's like, oh, that's hilarious. It's like, no.
Yeah, not when you're in it.
Right. Exactly.
Not when you put in the dishes the wrong way.
Right. No. That's just the worst. That's the absolute worst.
That's the worst.
Yes.
Don't
put the dishes in the wrong way.
No, yeah, they go this way. The plates go down here.
Or like me, you can just break the dishwasher and not fix it, which is, I'm going to just.
I believe in
first.
you.
I appreciate that, Michael.
I trust you.
It really means a lot to me. One of the nice things. Speaking of nice things about this. Oh, actually, look at this. We got a couple of nice comments here.
Wow.
Resistant predictive oohing for the win. That's awesome.
Nice.
And then we have this other one, my favorite. Yeah. Most teenagers are pretty awkward, especially.
Oh, Mary, you just made my day. I think I'm still pretty awkward, but I own it now.
Yeah, no, it's more of
like,
it's more of a character trait than a character flaw, right? Is that?
I think being comfortable. It's a big learning curve to be comfortable in your own skin, and even if you realize you're still the same as you were, but it's like, no, but I'm me now, and I'm
me now, right?
I can do this.
And at one point, you're looking back at even 16, 17, 18-year-olds, you saying, I was me back then too, but I didn't know it because I was trying too hard to be somebody else. And it's like,
man. If only I could have sent a message to 16-year-old Michael Maloney, but be like, dude, it's all gonna be okay.
It's gonna be okay.
Forget them. Don't listen to them. You just be you. They're not even gonna. You should check out their Facebook in 10 years, Mike. They're not gonna do anything. You're gonna be cool. You just keep doing you. Keep your head up.
Or even no. Actually, no. That kid, hang out with that kid. That kid's cool. Hang out with that kid.
Actually, hang out with that. Yeah, he invents Twitter. So go with that kid. Or TikTok or whatever.
Oh, that's amazing.
Wow.
I love that. Oh, that's so great. So, but one of the things that I always do whenever I have a guest on the show is I totally social media stalk them. So I do apologize for social media stalking you.
Let's do it. Yeah. Oh,
yeah,
you said. Oh, me. Oh, God.
Yeah, you. And and I want to make sure that I can share with everybody all your good stuff, especially. And I'm kind of like really quickly getting your Instagram's great, and I love your Instagram. But this
Oh,
is
wow.
one of the coolest things is
This is very cool.
your yeah. This is such a great. I mean, Metronome Magazine. If you guys are not from around Boston, it's been around forever. In fact, the guy doesn't even have a website. It's all throughout. It's so
Yeah.
funny. It's
just
like I feel like
old school. Yeah.
Email is the newest tech that they have, and it only comes out in paper format, and it's all done through like email and phone calls, and it's just like it's perfect, in such a great old school way. And this is such a great review, and I'm super excited. I wanted to share this with everybody.
Yeah, thank you.
Because yes, it's a great record. I really enjoyed it so much.
Thanks, Dan.
And I, in kind of talking about it with you and talking about it, listening to it as much as I have been, that I feel like it's just, and again, I you call yourself a piano player who kind of learned everything else, but you're ridiculously good at all the other things. And
Thanks.
And so I just wanted to say thank you for putting that whatever those years of relationships, issues, whatever it is, on this, and I also want to give my congratulations and thanks for putting together something so great. Do you have another song for us?
Yeah, I guess I could do something else. Let's see. Let me grab my capo.
Of course.
Let's see how this goes. Oh, all right. Well, we could do. Oh, let's do this one instead.
Yes, do that.
Here
one.
we go.
Do
Okay.
Yeah.
Let's do. Oh yeah, thanks for yep. This one is called Back to Boston. It's really more of a piano ballad, but we'll do it for you on the guitar today. And this one is one of the songs that you wrote. I think you wrote it in 2012 or 11, and probably one of the quickest songs that I wrote. This was definitely like a subconscious stream of thought, kind of getting some ideas out, and then afterwards realizing that, oh, I thought this was about something else, but this is actually about me. But it became quite a nice song, and I'm very proud of it. And it's a song that follow Michael on Instagram. Right there. This is just one of the songs that my friends would always sing out and chime out as well over the years. And when you get very self-conscious of your writing and your songwriting, it gets very scary to release your child out into the world. And when you're out with your friends and people start singing the line or something from your song, then you realize how proud of your child you are, and how wonderful that thing is. So when I was doing this one, I said, yeah, I re-released this one many years ago, again on a very more simpler recording format, and just wanted a more of a proper, cleaner, tighter sound. And this was kind of cool. There's a big kind of chorus. Billy Leach, who produced, mixed and mastered the album with me, kind of said, oh, this is totally ready for like anthem rock stadium chanting. And it was kind of cool. I had this party in my apartment in Mission Hill when I was at Northeastern. I had a recording party, and I'm not a professional recorder guy, but I had just two very high mics in the room by the couches, and I had about a dozen so people over, and the chorus goes, "Let's head back to Boston." And when I was listening to over, everyone was kind of cutting the s off at the wrong time for "let's," and I just remember I kept being like, "Guys, we gotta do another take of 'let's,' and we're just gonna do 'let's' and 'let's,' and just over and over." And I was a little bit too strict about it, but after that, my friends would, we'd be messaging each other, "Hey guys, let's go to that restaurant to get," and then someone would just say, "Yeah, let's," just in all caps, and he's a real, that's my friend John McCormick. Anyways, he sang on it. Just some nice memories. Here we go. This is Back to Boston. When we were younger, summer lasted from 9 to 2. And when we were colder, I wrapped my arms around you. Whenever the sun set, we said no thank you. Let's head back to Boston, where we first kissed for the very first time. Oh, and let's head back to Boston, to Canmore Square by the Citgo sign. Oh, and let's head back to Boston, the Orange Line, going God knows where, going God knows why. And let's head back to Boston, where I first drowned in the pools of your eyes. Oh, back when you were mine. Something I said must have left a tear in your heart. Now I'll always regret, until from this world I depart. Let's head back to the beginning. Let's head back to the start. Let's head back to Boston, where we first kissed for the very first time. Whoa, and let's head back to Boston, to Canmore Square by the Citgo sign. Whoa, and let's head back to Boston, the Orange Line, going God knows where, going God knows why. And let's head back to Boston, where I first drowned in the pools of your eyes. Whoa, back when you were mine. Boston, where we first kissed for the very first time. Whoa, and let's head back to Boston, to Canmore Square by the Citgo sign. And let's head back to Boston, where we first kissed for the very first time. Whoa, and let's head back to Boston, to Canmore Square by the Citgo sign. Whoa, and let's head back to Boston, the Orange Line, going God knows where, going God knows why. And let's head back to Boston, where I first drowned in the pools of your eyes. Whoa, back when you were mine.
Yay! as somebody who lives reasonably close to the Orange Line, that was one of the. When I heard that line, I'm like, should I tease him about that or no? I'm not sure.
You should. Yeah, you should. That's one of those lines where I was like, is this going to make sense to anyone else, like universally, who would listen to be like, what's the Orange Line? Or there was actually a line originally. Oh, thanks. There was a line where it was originally by the reservoir on the Stoneham line, and that was definitely more of a personal kind of line for me. And then as the years went by and I was re-recording this, I thought like, Stoneham's not really Boston, but as you know, when you're out of Boston, you're like, yeah, I'm from Boston, just to keep it easy. I'm from Medford. And, I just decided, so I did some like re-editing 6 or 7 years after originally writing.
Yeah, no, I
did more of the, let's do the Kenmore Square.
Yep, Kenmore,
line,
people know Kenmore.
Fenway,
exactly.
and da-da-da. But that's the green line, but so at least we get that area.
Yeah, no, I feel like that was a good edit. I appreciate, I approve that edit. Well done. Yeah.
Thank you, Tim. Thank you very much.
As somebody who's not even from Boston, I've just lived here for 20 years.
You definitely like wear the Boston jacket. You're one of us now.
That what I feel like a little bit. So I think that is a true thing. I do. I've now lived in Boston longer than I lived. I grew up in New York City, and I lived in Boston longer than I lived in New York. And so, while I will always be from New York, I live here, and a big part of my heart is here as well. In fact, my wife used to joke around when she was in college. She would meet somebody, and they say, "Where are you from?" You meet people, and they would say, "Oh, I'm from Boston." She goes, "Oh, really? What part?" And they'd be like, "Hingham."
Yeah, Hingham.
She's like,
where?
no, because she's actually from Boston. She's like, no, I grew up in Boston.
Okay.
And so,
yeah.
And so, yeah, she's like,
it's
Boston, what part? It's like, no,
yeah, it's a thing.
It's Hingham. It's an hour away.
Right. Just makes it easy.
It does.
You're like, Hingham.
It does.
Like, what?
Yeah. Yeah, no one knows where Hingham is, exactly, right.
Drake it.
I'm actually from North Attleboro. That's where I'm from. It's
yes, North Attleboro. Oh, not to be confused with just Attleboro.
Attleboro,
yes.
right? Exactly.
Yes.
I think you get the whole like geography lesson, and you gotta take all that stuff on the table, and knock it all off the table, and put out the big map.
Be like, here, so there's the Mystic River.
Or what you do is this: you take like, okay, so this is Boston, and this is where I.
Yeah, this is here's
things around. Yeah, it's amazing.
The pen represents Samuel Adams, and now over here, this is Mother Goose.
That's New York City, all the way over there.
In the New York.
That's where we are.
The seal over there is.
Actually, I have the New York City right behind you. That's New York City right over there.
Oh, that's very nice. Yeah, you have a nice little thing back there.
Thank you very much. This was so as one of my reclaiming this space. This space was a disaster and was basically just storage for a long time. And during the pandemic, I was like, you know what? If I'm gonna keep doing this kind of stuff, if I'm gonna keep doing music, if I'm gonna do the radio show, if I'm gonna take grad classes, I need a space. And so I repainted the walls, found this awesome record player. I was like, this is just in a pile of stuff, and I was like, this is amazing, this is great. So now it's a recording studio slash really nice. Where I do the show from. Ohan is driving through North Attleboro in just a bit. Ohan, thank you once again for listening. That's so funny. Oh my goodness.
That's like right in Boston.
It's right in Boston. If you're in Chicago, North Attleboro might as well be Boston, right?
Safe travels. Oh.
But question for you though, and I'm really fascinated by this, and I heard, as you grew up with the Clancy brothers with Tommy Makem, or the Makem brothers with Tom. That's Clancy brothers with Tommy Makem.
That's right. Wow. Yes.
And
wow.
My I have a lot of family in Ireland as well, and one of the things I remember going to, I probably was about 3 feet tall, which was really helpful in the late 70s, early 80s when everybody could smoke everywhere. So I was actually under the big
under the smog.
Smoke, under the smog at the Wolf Tones concert, And,
oh wow!
And so, like, I remember seeing the Wolf Tones a ton. I saw the Makem Brothers a ton. I saw And then when I got older and I found out who the Saw Doctors were, and I was like, yes, I want to go see them. As and I definitely hear a lot of Irish influence in your tunes. Not just like the Mountains of Mourne, which is like a super Irish song, but other songs as well. Which is why I like when I heard you, I was like, this is like the Beautiful South, because they're like this
Oh yeah.
indie Irish band. I don't know if you want to call them indie, because they were probably like the late '80s, early '90s is when they got their height of what was their success. The Waterboys, a little bit of that. Now, is that directly from your folks or from your relatives, or is that kind of like, oh, I found this when I got older? How did that happen for you?
Yeah. This is really cool. This is really wonderful that you're like you just read through this. You're like psychologically getting into my brain. This is cool.
Thank you. I think
This is really nice. No, this is really cool. Again, to be like, you put something out and you just first say, I hope people like this.
Mm-hmm.
And then not only are people liking it, which is really wonderful to feel, but then people start to be like, oh, I wonder who he listens to and who does he like. And this album in particular, I really kind of call it like a compilation, because it's just all over the place. But so are my musical kind of loves. But yeah, my parents would have introduced me more to the Macomb Clancy brothers, and then I also formed an Irish band with my friend from high school and his dad, and his dad kind of really got us more into that, kind of the songs, more traditional folk songs, and then I did a semester in Ireland in 2015. It was at a physiotherapy clinic in Dublin.
Oh, nice.
And that's when everything really just kind of exploded. I brought this guitar, and again, music was such a wonderful way to just meet people and to meet the beautiful music in Ireland and just the traditional,
it's just
the
incredible.
joys, and to join a lot of sessions, a few open mics, and that's when like really like the trad came in. Yeah, where's this?
Can you guess?
Is that Grafton Street?
Yes, it is. Yes.
Very cool. Very cool.
That was probably 2000 and I want to say 2003, 2004 maybe. Yeah.
That was probably so wonderful. Like once you do that, you're like, I made like, I was going to it, and I was like, oh my god, I'm gonna do this today.
Mm-hmm.
Like this is a big thing.
Yeah, it's a huge thing.
Because just the history of just live music in the country and the people just promote music so heavily. So if you're at a party,
it really is amazing.
Everyone has a song,
yeah.
Everyone has a poem that you stand up and say at the end of the night. And it's not like, no, you're not going to be embarrassed. It's like, we're all just here and we're all just respectful of the song and like you just being honest and sharing this.
And it's like, by the way, it's your turn. It's not that
it's your turn. Yeah,
it's not like it's not. Do you want to? It's not.
Do you
can
want
I?
to?
It's no. It's you're up next. Like it's literally that's what we do here, and it's such a wonderful.
So, it was just I just can't explain.
Yeah.
Some of my American friends just don't really get it.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, I want to go back to Ireland. And
yeah.
They're like, oh yeah, we
don't know why. That's incredible. I'm very
It really
jealous.
was amazing.
Yeah.
That really kind of was like the catalyst. Also, for once I came back, I was like, I really, there were a lot of songs. I played the piano for churches and choirs and musicals. I'm in this Irish band, but I really wasn't spending a lot of my time with my own material, and I think that semester of performing kind of made me realize like I really time is fading away, and I need to share this, and I need to do this properly. So, but yeah, I really fell in love with like Glenn Hansard, who did the music for Once, and of course like U2 and would discover the Waterboys and Snow Patrol.
I love Snow
kind of
Patrol.
more modern kind of rock guys, but those guys are always kind of there in my brain and my roots. I think as I
one of my favorite scenes in Once is the party scene. I think you described it perfectly when that song Gold is playing, and it's literally like they must have all crowded into a bathroom or a kitchen or something, and there's 6 guys all playing, and they're all like this trying to play, that's what they do. It sounds amazing, and they're just playing music for the sake of playing music, and it's really a wonderful, wonderful experience to be part of that. And I'm so glad that you did it, and a little bit jealous. I feel like my times in Ireland, at least recently, have only been like a week was a lot. And when I was younger, I would visit Ireland a bunch. I have family in Mayo, so we'd spend 2 or 3 weeks there, which was one of the the highlights of all my friends were like, "You didn't go to camp? Everyone's going to camp." I'm like, "I'm not going to camp."
Why go to camp when you can go to Mayo?
I'm gonna go milk some cows. Is what I'm gonna go do.
You get my shoes dirty in the mud.
Yep, get all muddy.
Gonna have tea every day.
Yep.
Toast.
I'm gonna ride a bull. It's gonna be amazing. It's gonna be fantastic.
Yeah, that sounds really awesome.
Yeah, it does.
It's really
so
wonderful.
fun. And again, the whole music thing is just pervasive throughout the whole culture. And yeah, definitely I could hear a lot of that in your tunes as well, and it makes me happy that I was right. So not
right.
Not that I'm like, yes, I was right. I'm like, yeah, of course.
That's really cool. That's
works.
awesome.
That's great. Do you have another tune for us? Speaking of which, or
well, I guess we can do that other one. Yeah, I was gonna do. Yeah, the Round the Mountains of Mourne was like I was like really trying to write my own traditional Irish song, and then especially that I wanted my dad to be proud of, and I was like, oh, Dad, is there any like places? Well, I guess maybe we'll just do that one.
Okay, you can tell us all about it afterwards.
We'll do this one.
This is gonna be great.
Okay. I was a young man, she was a lass. I was watching the sunset as she walked past. I sat on a rock, lay feet in the dew. We both sat in silence and enjoyed the view. She said, call me darling, and I love you so. I'll always be with you wherever you go. She said, hold me closer like a baby just born. No, I'll never forget the first time we met, the summer we spent round the mountains of Mourne. We both said hello, and where we came from, the hours had passed and the sun was long gone. We laughed and we cried with tears in our eyes. We sat close and warm and we watched the sunrise. She said, call me darling, and I love you so. I'll always be with you wherever you go. She said, hold me closer like a baby just born. No, I'll never forget the first time we met, the summer we spent round the mountains of Mourne. Gone by, many moons up above. It's that fateful night when I first met my love. And every July we get back to that place. And every July, oh, I messed up the line. We go back to that place where she said, call me darling, and I love you so. I'll always be with you wherever you go. She said, hold me closer, like a baby just born. No, I'll never forget the first time we met, the summer we spent round the mountain lawn. The summer we spent round the mountain lawn.
Yay!
Ah, thanks, Dan.
So good. So good. So good.
So
Thanks,
good.
Michael.
Yeah, so I actually wrote that walking along Revere Beach.
That's not
Is that
Ireland.
weird? That's not
Ireland.
No. It's that I was trying to write like a song in that style, and I remember I just like had this thing, and then my folks were like, "Hey, we're all gonna go to the beach and just go for a walk," which is kind of a family thing we like to do. And I was like, "No, but I have this thing in my head, and it's like I think this is something nice, and I want to work on it." And I just was like, I stayed away from them, and I just was like, okay, what could the line be? And maybe she sits on a rock, and maybe there's the dew. Should I say the dew? Is that too weird? And that song's from maybe like 2012 or so. Again, like right around when I wrote Little Darling, and I think later I realized like there's very similar chord progressions, but one's a waltz and one's in 4/4, and
you
know,
know,
like, you wouldn't know
sometimes
it.
That makes all the difference. It really does.
That makes all the difference.
Yes, it absolutely does. Did you also know there's a song by Don McLean called Mountains of Mourne?
I know. So after I wrote it, I learned that there's a song like The Mountains of Mourne, which is like everyone knew, and then I'm like, oh no, I was like really proud of this, and they're like, no, that's not The Mountains of Mourne. So that's why
like,
I
yes,
added.
it is. Yes, it is.
It's mine.
It's mine.
So I added the round to try
right.
to differentiate it. But
which is a
yeah,
smart,
no, it's
I feel like, you know, for marketing and for branding purposes, I think it's definitely a smart move on your part.
Yeah.
Or you know, at some point you could just have Don McLean come and play on your record, and just in the future, like a live show, you know, just have them come.
Yeah, I'll just call Donnie up. Yeah.
Yeah, and it'd be like,
hey Donnie,
Donnie,
hey.
I got this song, and I think I
Donnie
need you to
boy.
play on it. Yeah, Donnie. Oh, Donnie boy.
Oh,
need
Donnie
you to
boy.
play on this song.
The music, the day the music dies.
Oh my goodness! So have you been to the Mountains of Mourne? Is that like a place,
No.
or you just kind of like randomly picked it?
Yeah, it was me trying. Especially when I was younger, I would always try to do something that my family would like, you know, because when you're trying to prove yourself, you know, doing these like little hobbies in your room, you're like, so that's when I still had the chance. Like I intentionally wrote it that to like try to have a song that my dad would really like a country folk song. And then some time went by, and I tried to write a song for him, and I said, Dad, are there any places in Ireland? And I want to write like an old sounding song where the guy meets the girl, and it's all very innocent and sweet, and they just spend the night talking together, and like where could be somewhere that people can meet. And he's like, well, there's the mountains, there's the Mourne Mountains, and that's more in Northern Ireland. And I just kind of ran with that, and I said, yeah, cool. And like Mourne, just like the spelling of it is kind of intriguing, the Mourne. Like, you know, there's undertones of like some sadness and grief with that as well.
Which
was cool.
Is not Irish at all. I can't even say that with a straight face. No, it's just basically...
It goes with the Catholic guilt so well. Oh, I had some chocolates. Oh no.
Sadness, sorrow, and angst in an Irish song? I don't believe it.
Yeah. Yeah. So I remember, like, you know, I did it, but then my dad, he like edited. He said, well, what about what if you use this word instead? I think I said, hold me closer like a child just born. And I wanted to sing it like a child just born.
Right.
And my dad's like, that's not a really good line. Maybe about baby. And it's very still like comforting. And then you get the alliteration.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh my God, Dad.
That's amazing.
Where's this coming from? You never wrote anything. And so that was like a Finton. So his name is Finton. and so he kind of helped write that. And
I
then
love that.
and then a few years went by, and that's when I did the semester. And then my cousins were listening to this, and they literally knew the place, and they'd be like, "Now you wouldn't be doing that now in the Mourne Mountains. There, it's too freezing at night, but we'll let it slide." These girls, the girl would freeze to death. And I'm like, "Geez, I really don't know this place at all."
Right? Did you visit?
No, so I actually haven't really
Oh,
done.
Michael, you were right there.
I know it's right, but it's like not right there. You have to
It's
go.
not. No, I know. It's
Like that way, and kind of everyone I know is this way.
right.
But someday I do want to maybe get a video of me singing it there.
That'd be really cool.
So then it was like extra special, because then when I was recording it, I thought, wouldn't it be cool to have my dad like truly on the record? And I know that he wouldn't sing because he's so shy. So then 3 or 4 years later we went by, and I wrote like a poem featuring, that the Mourne Mountains are in Northern Ireland, but there are some places that were scenic that became very important to me with the cousins I have and who I got close with. So I mentioned Loch Key, which is a river, which is a lake, I think in Sligo, and some other places. And it was really adorable. So I recorded my dad reading the poem in the middle of it. And I had to tell him, like, no, so Dad, you got to get, like, here to the microphone. And he'd be like, do the people go down there? I'm like, no, Dad, you got to, like, slow, you got to spread out. And that was a really cute moment, too, to see this older man just, like, out of his element with headphones on. So, like, all those little moments when you're creating art, like, I just get to relive years of moments that helped create this one thing. It was very special, really nice.
I love
and
that.
to know
That's
that the
amazing.
the Maloney clan are all part of that track.
Yeah, that's so cool. I'm so glad your dad didn't say Russ Common or something. You know, it's like how do you rhyme that one? That's tricky. But that's so cool. Where's your dad from?
He's from Galway.
He's from Galway. All right, nice.
Yeah, tons of Galway.
Cool.
There's,
Yeah.
I mean, he was one of 10, and then one brother came to the States in the 70s. And so there's, now there's 7 aunts and uncles, and they each have 1 to 5 kids, and
Right.
a lot of names
awesome.
to remember.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
and most of them are very interesting, which is
Yes,
I
Aoife,
also- Yep.
Aoife Bark.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's awesome. My closest cousin is Cahill.
Cahill.
Yeah, it's a great name.
I love the H's.
Yeah.
H's are so
so
silent.
wonderful. Yeah.
Like here we have Flaherty as a name, but there would be like Flaherty.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
It is wonderful. It's so great. No, and I
This is very nice.
I can just keep talking about Ireland all day.
Yeah.
It's one of my favorites, and I was just actually, I was thinking to myself, talking about where was I? I had a thought, and it just escaped me. Oh no.
Ireland.
Oh yes.
Tea. Milking cows.
Ireland tea, milking cows has maybe to do with it. Actually, one of the neatest things that ever happened, I think, and I have a picture of it on my desk at school, where I teach, is my dad came up. My parents came up to visit a couple years ago, and it was when the Burren was doing their Beatles brunch.
Yes.
And so my dad came, and he grabbed my guitar, and he sat down, and it was me and my dad, and I think Hugh McGowan and somebody else, probably Tom Bianchi, and just sitting there playing Beatles songs. I'm like, this is the coolest thing ever. And just to have that moment captured, it's such a nice way to kind of like look back on it, and to have that. To have that recording of your dad as well, which is pretty amazing, is people say that music is how we decorate time, and I'm like, that is one of the neatest things, and that it takes you to a place, it kind of allows you to be in multiple places at the same time, and it's really pretty. Yeah.
That's a very must have been a very special memory to have at the Burren.
Yeah.
It sounds really nice.
Yeah. That was
the power of music and being transported back to November 10th, 19 whatever,
exactly.
and to experience all the emotions you had in that moment, and then to relive it in like a 3-minute or video, or
Sure.
it's very special.
It is. It's really, really great. So what is coming up for you soon, Michael? What do you? How are you? I didn't even ask how you spent the pandemic, because you have this record. I'm sure you spent a lot of it recording and mixing and mastering.
It's been interesting because actually, I put kind of my own music. I had this out. I just said, let's just do January. It's called January Hopeful.
Mm-hmm.
So let's just get it out. And my birthday's in January, and that's kind of part of the
Happy
title.
birthday! I'm sorry.
Oh, thank you. Yeah. No, that's okay.
Next
But yeah, I actually started a new job. So as a physical therapist. So
Okay.
the last 2 months have just been transitioning and getting used to this new job. So now I'm kind of like trying to get back into, oh yeah, I came out with an album. I need to do that now. And like, this is a beautiful opportunity to kind of get back into talking about these songs. One thing I was going to talk about with the song I did, Back to Boston, earlier, I've been trying to play with getting people, the public, to volunteer and like be part of like a new Back to Boston music video. So even awesome people like yourself, Dan, or anyone else in North Attleboro, they could either go to
I'm gonna just keep saying North Attleboro all the time now. I think is like as like a thing. It's gonna be a great thing where we're gonna get T-shirts made under the covers in North Attleboro.
Yes.
It's gonna be. It's gonna. Sorry, I interrupted.
That'd be
Please
a good.
continue.
That'd be a good like store name, like for bed. I don't know. Yeah, we'll look at it. But yeah, if anyone either wants to reach out to me on my on any of my accounts about like how to get through, I made a music video when it first came out about 9 or 10 years ago with me walking around Boston, and I've had this idea that now that we're all on the age of Zoom and this kind of media, and that song especially has such a choral experience to it, and even though we've all been apart, to have everyone kind of together, kind of pretending to be me singing it, has been an idea that if I get enough people to do it, I think it could be a powerful little project.
That'd be really cool. Just a little what do you call it? Lip syncing to the song, whatever. That's awesome.
Lip syncing video.
That's a really neat idea.
I've already worked on some music videos for other tracks on my own. I'm kind of getting more into the groove of sending the record out to radios and maybe a few other.
And I do have to ask. I love the Stars Out Tonight video. With
thanks.
Did you do that yourself, or is that somebody?
Yeah, that was. We had like a really snowy day in December, and I was supposed to be doing a Christmas concert, and then it just got thrown off because of the storm. And so I just was feeling super like unsettled, and I just thought, everyone's doing those lyric videos, so I just put the camera like here, and I don't know how to draw or anything, but I just thought it would be fun. So again, just like a fun, different medium to express, and I have like complete ownership over it because I'm not on a label. I'm just myself, and that's a really powerful thing to have like ownership over all the content that's coming out from this album. Right. So I just did a bunch of I did like 3 or 4 hours of writing things out and just drawing, and then I changed the speed and just had some fun with it. And a segue!
Right? It's such a great segue. And I just love this. The song's great, and I just want to just jump around a little bit because it's just such a cool idea, and I was like, I've always wanted one of those. It's such a cool, neat way to actually have the video done, and the fact that you were like, oh, it's snowing, I'm gonna make a video. That's
I just got nothing
incredible.
to do today, and this is what I'm gonna do.
Which
I think to segue on what we've been doing during COVID. I did a few streams with my Irish band last year,
and
then
what's
mostly
your Irish band's name?
Oh yes, we're called the Boston Harbor Boys. That's BHOYS, Boys. And so we did a few streams, and that was really nice. But yeah, mostly this was an opportunity to actually finish this album. Did a lot of the mixing and mastering was with my friend Billy Leach, and it just was through Dropbox that we never met in person once to do it. He would send me a note. He said, "Hey, the 4th version is up. Give it a listen and leave some comments." And so last spring was a great chance to kind of really get a lot of the final things done. But last year, I actually have done a lot of writing, and it's really kind of interesting to see what this next project is going to be. There's a lot of, because I think we're all just feeling so much again, and it's been a really interesting time to create some things that might be a little bit darker for me, but I think we're all, experiencing the spectrum of what the pandemic and life is, but life is, as we were saying, life is the light and the dark, and trying to, at least for me, always trying to find the light in it. So I've been experimenting a lot with different sounds and synthesizers and keyboard sounds. So
Including
really excited.
what do you call it? The shoegaze mix of the song on your own.
Oh yeah,
yeah, it's like such a cool.
That was him.
I was like, that's cool.
Yeah, that was Billy. So Billy Leach was my friend from high school, and he so I'm like the Paul McCartney Beatles guy, and then he was like the Billy Joel guy, and he was really into the Ramones, and given his background of recording, he really is into production. And sometimes he just said, oh, by the way, I also, just because he was out of work and had all this time, because there's no live music going on. So he just was experimenting for his own sake. And he said, oh, by the way, what do you think about that? And I was like, what is happening here? And, there were one or two others that he did that were really cool too. And, I was playing with, should I release this as as a side EP? Or maybe this is better than the thing that I thought of. Right. And I was really trying to play this moral debate, like, wait, maybe he did something really interesting. And I just decided to just also include, I think he did like 6, but 4 of them I really loved, and just decided it would equal, on the hard CD, they would all fit on it by like a few seconds. It was barely enough, because now there's 15 songs and then there's 4 remixes at the end, and that was part of the journey too, to be like, okay, I'm surrendering some artistic ownership over these things I've worked on for a long time, but also I trust Billy so much, and also I think this is really cool too. And so it was nice to put those on the end. And how do I, what should I put first, and what should I properly end the album with? But those experiments kind of have opened my eyes to maybe for like these new songs that I've been writing, and there are a lot of new songs, but like I don't want to repeat what I've done, and still make some sounds, and keep it funky, keep it a little weird for me. I mean, when I say funky for me, it's still very bland. That's
not true. No.
But it lands somewhere in the middle.
You can bring the funk. You see, perfect example.
So, trying to get out there, promoting January Hopeful, getting some exposure with it, kind of get comfortable with my writing again. And I've just been writing and recording a lot of new stuff too, and I don't know, but maybe by the end of this year I'll have a new album out, maybe. Excellent. And it'll be interesting.
And you'll have to come back. We can chat.
That would be great.
Do you have one more tune before we kind of like bring this to a nice little...
Sure, wow.
Put a little ribbon bow on it?
Sure. Let's see, now I'm going to really grab this capo. Oh, we're getting old here. We're getting so old. Okay, let's give this a go. Let's see, did this? That sounds pretty good, I guess. Here's a nice song that I'm really proud about, called More Than You'll Ever Know. And then on the album, you'll actually hear my friend Carissa, her married now, so she goes by Carissa, the Kakara? Or maybe she's still Carissa Scudieri. I think her artist name is Carissa Ann. Anyways, we turned this into a duet, and she did such a beautiful job, and you'll have to check out the actual studio track version of this. hopefully you like that too. I saw a postcard that reminded me of you. You always love that sunny California view. When you talk about tomorrow, you always give me a touch. Want to tell you something, but I'm afraid I'll say too much. Every time we say goodnight, I know everything will be alright. I love you, love you. Oh, I love you so. I love you, I love you. More than you'll ever know. More than you'll ever know. We can see the world, maybe visit the other side. Every waking moment is another moment of life. Walk in Central Park, maybe dance under the moon. The rising sun in the morning always rises up too soon. Every time we say goodnight, I know everything will be alright. To love you, I love you. Oh, I love you so. Love you, love you, more than you'll ever know, more than you'll ever know. Ooh, nothing so sweet as the sound of your heartbeat. Ooh, and there's nothing I can do. It feels like I'll always be in love with you. Every time we say goodnight, I know everything will be alright. I love you, I love you. Oh, I love you so. I love you, I love you. More than you'll ever know. More than you'll ever know. More than you'll ever know.
Hey, Michael Maloney, everybody! So
Thanks,
fantastic! You're such a great songwriter. I love your everything about it. Such a great vibe, and you're such a cool dude. Thank you so much for coming and spending time this afternoon with me,
Thanks,
with
Dan.
everybody watching at home. Please, everybody who is home, make sure that you are also liking and subscribing. Now that we have a YouTube page, I feel like that's like a thing. You say
Wow.
the YouTube. It's like oh, we're on the YouTube.
We're on the YouTube.
Yes, we can actually.
Nice.
You actually like and subscribe and kind of check it out every Sunday at noon, or watch it after we're done. Go back, go have your brunch, and then come back and watch this later. Share it with your friends. Tell everybody about it.
Yes.
Michael, this was so lovely. I really appreciate you taking time out to join us. I say like as if it was more than just me here, but it's a radio show, so I have to thank the producers, thank the production team, especially I want to thank Wardrobe, especially for today.
Oh yes, yes.
Very important.
Yes.
The
Old Navy. Yes, thank you.
Well done on your team's side as well. I want to say thank you. And our sound engineer, our lighting tech, and Frank Turner,
the Foley artists.
Yeah, the Foley artist, very important.
Yes. Yep.
Yeah. and Frank Turner right there behind my head. So
Yeah, of course.
So there we go.
And the seal.
And the
From
seal.
New York.
Let's bring it all the way back.
It's all.
I love it.
Seal
It's
the deal.
Seal the deal. I love it, Michael. This was so wonderful. Thank you so much.
Yeah,
I'm
I
gonna
had a
end
really
the
nice
broadcast.
time.
Everybody who is here, thank you so much for listening. For those of you guys watching again, thank you for watching. Share it with your friends. Hopefully, we'll see you. Kim Moberg is coming next Sunday. Very excited about that. I'm going to end the broadcast, Michael, if you can hang out for a little bit.
Awesome.
All right,
Yeah, cool.
Excellent. Have a lovely day, everybody. Enjoy your week. See you next Sunday. Bye.